Hello, y'all. I didn't want to be before you long. I understand that a lot of black women are upset by the consequences of this election and how it has impacted not only the black community but people around the world. Elections do have consequences. For over 100 years, our ancestors fought for the privilege to vote and fought to ensure that our voices are heard. Malcolm X once said that the most disrespected person in America is the black woman. However, the black woman that was qualified, educated, and ready to be the president, however, she did not win. And in this case, she didn't win not just because she was a black woman, but because she was experienced and qualified. And not only was she experienced and qualified, but the system held her back for what she was trying to do. The system demolished the parts of what mattered in this country. However, the system did not want a black woman to lead the country because the country was afraid of it. If I put a woman in the highest office of the presidency, then it would be kind of like a setback. Now, the reason why she did not win her election is because the majority of Hispanic men and white women decided that Donald Trump was capable to be the next president of the United States. And as a result of that, the reason why he's president and the reason why there's a lot of consequences in this election is simply because people did not work hard enough to vote. Now, over 57 million people voted for Kamala Harris. It didn't put her over the finish line. She didn't win enough electoral votes. But however, the person that has been openly a racist, who is a white supremacist, who's a rapist, a misogynist, and who does not think that his actions does not cause him to be under the faction of the law. And we know that in this country, our laws do matter. However, we have elected a president who do not care about the laws and the regulations of this country. And as a result, we have been held back by the white man. And what the white man wants to do is to oppress us again, which is Donald Trump. Now, I'm not trying to be racist. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. But however, the system has only wanted us to be divided for so many years. It has divided our ancestors, dividing us from the 60s, from Jim Crow to Reconstruction. However, when you look back in history, what they don't tell you in the history books anymore is that our people were lynched, raped, and humiliated for what they wanted to get. But they could not get what they wanted because of the sheer fact that they were not ready to put a black woman in office. And the moment that she lost, people were disrespected. Black men were disrespected, and black women were disrespected because not only was she a HBCU graduate, but she was a woman trying to reinstate the country. She had good policies. She had a good vision for the people, but the people of this country was not ready to put a woman in the White House. And as a consequence of it, the reason why this election was so controversial, the reason why this election was so important, not just for my age group and generation, but because we wanted to fight like hell to ensure that our democracy was intact. We wanted to fight enough for people to understand that in this country there are laws. In this country there are precedents where that laws must be followed. Not only has it spewed into the Supreme Court, but it has spewed into the places of our government. All of our branches of government has been spewed by the former president. And however, elected the former president, people believe that this man has the obligation to lead. And white women have said it, Hispanic men believe it. We may not believe it, and we may not ever understand why people think that this man is qualified for the job that they put him into. I will never understand it. You will never understand it either. However, what we must do, our ancestors fought tooth and nail to put us in the epitome of this right. In 1965, President Johnson signed into law the Voting Rights Act. That took years for that to be passed. Every single time they wanted to not only pass the Civil Rights Act, but the Voting Rights Act, it took years for them to pass it because most people didn't want black people to succeed or to have that right. Black people were made inferior by the white man, and the white man used the blue-eyed Jesus to hold us down. Jesus was never white, he was black. So our slave masters turned us away from the truth and to make us feel like we could be held down by the system. What they don't tell us in school no more is that the white man wanted to hold us down for centuries. For over centuries. And the reason why the white man wants to hold us down is because we have been boiled down to the point of our life that the reality is people want to see change. People want to see growth. People want to see healing. People want to see unity. And people want to see fundamental change. But we cannot move forward in a way when there is people trying to oppress not only people of color, but to oppress the democracy and the democratic process of this country. And the reality is people fought so hard for this woman to be elected president. And many people were upset because we did not know where the trajectory of this election will go. And however, people were upset, not just because of the sheer fact that she lost, but it's the sheer fact that she did not have the chance to prove her point to the country. She didn't have that chance. And however, she lost that chance because she wanted to prove to the people that if I fight, it will be better. However, it needs to be understood and addressed that the most disrespected person in America is the black woman. It's the black woman. Because over years and years and years, black women have been downgraded. Black women have been frowned upon. Black women have never had a chance to succeed in the highest levels of our government. Vice President Harris was the most experienced candidate that this nation could have had. And it could not happen because the process of the Democratic Party, it could not be solved. It could be solved. And so sadly, what the people did not understand that they were fighting. And anything by chance, they didn't understand that what people were fighting for, they wanted to feel mattered. They wanted to feel important. They wanted to know what are the steps I could do to make sure my people are heard. And the reason why black women are so hurt right now about this situation and why they woke up this morning looking at the results saying Donald Trump is the president of the United States is because black women wanted to feel heard. They wanted to experience change, but they couldn't feel the change because of the outcome of this election. And the important part of this is you have to remember that the white man agenda is to hold the black man and the black woman down. And for many, many years, people do not realize that we are living in a society and in a system where we are being held down. And you have to remember that when we vote, they are afraid of what we're voting for and why we are here. And why we're here to make fundamental changes in this country.